Over the last few years, I've found that my lightweight e-bike is the bike that I am riding the most. And today we find ourselves here at Twisted Oaks, and I'm going to be putting my e-bike head to head against my analog enduro bike with a few challenges to see if I can find out the exact reason as to why I'm riding the e-bike more. To start things off then, let's take a look at the bikes that we're going to be comparing today. And first up, we've got my e-bike, which is the Haibike Lake 11 CF. The frame is fully carbon fibre, running 140mm of suspension travel front and rear, and I ride this bike in a size medium. This lightweight e-bike is running the Fazua Ride 60 motor, which is giving out 60 Nm of torque, and that is run by a 420 Wh in-tube battery. This system also uses an LED interface which is integrated into the top tube. This bike is running a full 29-inch wheel setup, and that is taken care of by Halo wheels with the Gravitas model. And then up front we also have the gusset cockpit with the brand new chrome bars. This bike runs a Fox suspension setup both front and rear. We've got the 36 up front and we've got the DPS in the rear. Both of those are from the performance range and they both have 140mm of travel. As mentioned, this is a lightweight e-bike, meaning the total weight of this build is 17.5 kilograms. This bike right here then is my Ghost Riot Trail Pro. Once again, the frame is fully carbon fibre and I'm actually running this bike in a size small. We've got 27.5-inch wheels this time on the front and the rear. Once again, the wheels taken care of by Halo and the cockpit is gusset components. This bike's running the RockShox Lyric 150mm fork up front with a RockShox Super Deluxe 140mm on the rear. This bike runs the 8-pins hydraulic dropper seat post, which is integrated within the frame. Now it looks very clean and the extra height available on the dropper seat post comes in handy, but it's quite heavy, meaning the overall weight of the bike is 16 kilograms. There we go then, that is a closer look at the two bikes that we're going to be comparing in today's video. Spec wise, they're both very similar and they both fall into the category of trail bikes. If you take a look at the price, the e-bike is a little bit more expensive, but I don't want to compare that in today's video. This comparison is more performance based and I want to find out why I choose this bike over the enduro bike. Here's how this experiment is going to go down then. Right here on my phone I've got 6 different challenges which test different aspects of the bike. I'm then going to score each bike out of 3 and the bike at the end which has the highest score is the winner, and the first category is trail riding. Luckily there's a perfect trail there to start this experiment. Time for the first trail then. This one actually tests a little bit of everything and it actually starts with some turns there. Wow, it's loose today. And then we're straight in to a skinny balance beam. Look at that. Them turns are so sick. Right, we're on a more technical bit of trail now. Let's give it a go. Wow, those sections of trail feel so good and they kind of cover and test a bit of everything. This bike feels sick, but it's now time to hit the same lines just on the enduro bike. We're now on the enduro bike. We're going to hit exactly the same trail, exactly the same lines, so it's a direct comparison. And we're starting off on the balance beams. Here we go. Whoa, I was a bit quick in there. This is a little more drifty in the corners, this bike. Let's see what it feels like into these loose turns. Oh, quite good actually. Now time for the downhill section on the enduro. Let's see what it's like. I've just completed the trail on both bikes then. There's plenty to compare. I tried to ride them both exactly the same, but it's time to find out what my scores are. That's the first test complete and the scores are in, and we're going to start off with the e-bike, and I'm going to give this a 3 out of 3 because it feels absolutely incredible. Let's start off by looking at the way the bike grips. Obviously it's a little bit heavier than the Enduro, but I feel on this loose dirt and sand here today that helped to fine grip. It loads the suspension and the tyres up nicely, but also you'd think that it wouldn't turn or handle as well because it's a bit heavier, but in those switchback berms and the turns, it just flips over from side to side very easy. And the same on the little jumps and things we were bunny hopping or jumping over, you don't feel a disadvantage with the fact that it is a little bit heavier. Finally, looking at the rock section and the technical bit, this bike feels so planted. It didn't bounce around, and I think the weight is quite low down on this bike, which means that when the bike does start bouncing, it does help it to stay straight and stop all this from happening. Moving on to the Enduro bike then, and I'm going to give this a score of 2. And the reason that it scored lower than the e-bike is because it just felt unstable. It's only 2 kilograms lighter, but I could really feel the difference in grip, and it just felt wobbly. And if we compare it on the bumpy section, this bike was stable, whereas the lighter Enduro bike was bouncing around. It felt like a bit of a rodeo ball, which if that was a more aggressive section, that's only gonna be amplified. After round 1, the e-bike is in the lead, and it's now time for a time trial. We're at the top of Rum Trousers. This is the start, and it's also gonna be the finish. So a lap down the trail, up the road, stop the clock when we get back to this point. So let's drop in and get it. I absolutely love this trail, so it's really cool that we get to do a race on it. These corners are so much fun. You can carry some insane speed as you fire down to this nice big jump with a whip. Then this corner's so dry, but you can really hit that hard. Don't crash in the gravel, that's so loose there. Now we start the climb. Not the steepest hill ever, but you know, for your laps, obviously you can get so many more in on the e-bike, and it's going to be interesting to see how much quicker this climb is on this bike. Let's stop that clock. That was a quick lap, and I've got enough energy that I could just drop straight back in if I wanted to and keep going. Let's switch to the Enduro bike. We've switched things up, we're now on the Enduro bike. Let's start that timer and drop in for a lap on Rummy T. You! Okay, on course then. Into these quick corners, what? Had to brake there, I went offline. Yo, nice. Easy to get stylish on this bike. I'm already, from the top, not been looking forward to the climb, which perhaps says a lot about what way this test is going to go. But, oh, that seems such a long way on this bike. I think we'll fast forward this bit, shall we? Because no one wants to see me just struggling out of breath up a hill. Oh, oh, oh. There we go. Stop that timer. The scores are in then for the time trial, and I think it was obvious that this was always going to go to the e-bike, but the reason I wanted to put them head to head is that for me, when I'm out riding, if I can get more laps in, that is a massive factor as to what bike I would choose. So I'm going to give the e-bike a 3, and I'm going to give the Enduro bike a 0. The e-bike was 21 seconds faster than the Enduro, which would be a whole nother lap down. And if you was to do 3 laps on the e-bike, I feel you would get the same workout at the same intensity as you would on the Enduro just doing 1 lap. So that's 3 times more fun, which is why it gets 3 times the score. Let's move on to the next challenge. The third test today then is jumping. Now, luckily behind me here, we've got a perfect set of dirt jumps. I'm going to ride my favourite line on each bike and then give them a score and tell you guys what I think. Dirt jumps then, this line starts and you have to do a manual every time. It's mandatory on this line. Then we transfer across, nice, into these. They're nice and steep, which is so sick because you can really pull up, get some nice style on the go. Then we've got a little step up at the end, which we're going to finish with a knack-knack. Yo, that's so sick. Let's switch bike and give it a go on the Enduro. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Right, branch off that way. Yo. Nice. It flows good. Yeah, and a knack to finish. Sick. Right, I've got my scores. Let's get them in. The scores are in for jumping. This is a really important category for me because it's what I do the most on a bike. And let's start off once again with the e-bike, and that gets a 3 because it just feels absolutely incredible. It's light enough to boost and throw around, but it's heavy enough to be stable, which I think also if you're a beginner is really important because for the bike to move, it takes slightly more input. So if your body weight's slightly off, then this bike's not going to be as affected if you make a mistake. But if you're a good rider, it's also light enough to still lift up and throw around. The Ghost Enduro bike is going to get a 2.5. It's not far behind the e-bike when it comes to jumping, but I did just notice those things is a bit more nervous on some of the movements that I was making, which makes it feel a little bit more uncomfortable in the air. And you would have noticed that at the end I did a trick, which brings us on to the next test, doing tricks over there on the mulch jumps. I'm going to do 2 different spins on each bike, starting off with an e-bike 360. So let's drop in and give it a send. Yo, nice. Wow, that was massive. Right, let's do a backflip. Here we go then. E-bike backflip. Perfect. That's sick. Let's switch things up then. Enduro bike time. We're onto the enduro bike for its 360 then. Let's get it. Oh, nice. Yo, that was sick. Let's get it upside down. Let's go upside down on the enduro. Nice. There we go. And just like that, I've got the scores in my head. It's time to tell you guys. When doing the trick experiment, I'm not testing for you guys to get these bikes and go do backflips and 360s. Well, I'm sure there is some of you that would, but the main thing that I'm looking for is how agile and maneuverable the bike is, because both of them spins require a very agile and maneuverable bike. And when it comes to the scores, I'm going to give both bikes a 3. So they draw on this round. I would like to give the e-bike a slightly higher score because the fact that it feels exactly the same to do tricks as an enduro bike, despite the fact that it's got the battery motor and it is slightly heavier, is actually mind-blowing. But for the sake of this experiment, this round they both score even. It's now time to change location because it's time for the trials challenge. It's now time for the trials experiment. This line that we have here is the perfect test, not only for the bikes, but also for me, because it's quite difficult to navigate my way up and over it. I'm starting things off on the e-bike. I'm in turbo mode for this, and this is quite scary to make it up. Oh. It's crazy you can actually e-bike up that. Let's try to do it without putting my feet down. Let's approach this with a bit more speed then. There we go, right, we're up. Now, we trial this way. Whoa. Then we have this gap to try and clear. Onto that platform, nice. We have to turn around like that. And we've got to jump back. There we go. And then back down. This bike handles it an absolute treat. You! That was sick. Same line now on the enduro bike. Oh my God. My sprocket hit it. Please make it up this time. Yes, there we go. Had to use my sprocket. This is going to be scary as well. Oh my God. Right, back over. Okay, that was fine. Then back down. Whew. Yeah. The trials experiment was an interesting one, but the scores are in. The e-bike scores a 3 on this round. The enduro bike scores a 2. Everything, including going up onto the bunker, felt a lot more seamless and a lot more easy on the e-bike. I have to admit, the Ghost did feel a little bit easier up there maneuvering around, but not enough to score higher. And the fact it struggled on this bit is why it scored lower. The final experiment of this video then, and it is the climbing experiment. We've got the perfect set of stairs behind me here to give us a try on. Start off on the e-bike then. This shouldn't be difficult on this bike. There we go. Look at that. Nice. Yeah. I've actually never climbed a stair set on a normal bike, and I could be about to find out why. Oh my God. Right, let's try again. Oh. No. Yes. 3 for the e-bike, 1 for this bike, just because I feel bad giving it another 0. It's actually a fun challenge to do this on the e-bike, but on this bike, I don't think you'd just come out for fun and try ride up them stairs. Or maybe you would. The 6 experiments are now complete and we have a clear winner in the lightweight e-bike, and it has answered my question as to why this is my go-to bike at the moment. And to summarise, it just does everything better. People in the past have often said that the weight of an e-bike is a hindrance, but with these new lightweight ones, there's only 2 kilos difference. I think from these experiments, you can see that this bike not only rides at least the same, but in my opinion, better than the Enduro, and you can just get more riding in, which means more fun. These experiments have been tailored to the type of riding that I do, but I hope that from these tests, it's highlighted the strengths and the weaknesses of each bike for you guys to see. Unfortunately, that is all we've got time for today. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, leave your comments down below, and I will see you in the next video.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shoot tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a